You look great over there.
Thanks, dude.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, I feel good.
You feel good?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, just finished the 75 hard.
Yeah.
For like the fourth time doing it. And this time felt like, I don't know, it felt easier in a way, but I definitely gamed it a little more.
Okay.
I didn't force one of the workouts to be outside. Sometimes it would be like an hour and a half workout instead of 2 45s.
Okay.
But everything else was the same.
And you know what the critics are gonna say.
Yeah, you didn't actually do it. Well, you know what I say to critics, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So I don't know. This time around just felt really good, and I'm gonna stay off the no booze for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I like it. I like the way I feel. Working out every day still. Eating super clean, all that good stuff.
I mean, you kind of have to, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I got to tell you the no booze thing. Did I tell you that we're doing no booze the whole year?
Yeah, you did. That's awesome.
I actually, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I'm like, I don't know if I can ever drink again because
Yeah.
I feel good.
Right?
Like,
Yeah, it's just not worth it.
no.
I feel like crap afterwards.
I'm 48 now, Stephen. You're 37?
Yeah, you got about 10 years on me.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, it really takes a toll. Like even 3 or 4 beers the next day, I'm like, and I didn't actually realize like how crappy I felt until not drinking for a few months.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wow, so this is what that's like, huh? Like, not and everyone, I wasn't like hitting the whiskey, drinking, you know, like a couple beers, a couple days a week kind of deal.
Sure.
And then every once in a while, thinking I was 28 again and getting after it a little bit. But I feel amazing.
Yeah. Waking up without a hangover and just being able to go out and crush it every day just feels so great.
The mental clarity.
Yes.
Again, I didn't realize like how foggy brained I was until I think I could actually probably go back in my podcasts and listen to an interview on like I don't know if there's many Tuesdays that we did where I'd had drinks Monday night, but I'm sure there was one or two. And I can just remember though thinking my way through podcasts as conversations are happening and trying to make sure I'm asking good questions, and it was a little challenging because my brain was just like and like now I just feel sharp.
Yeah.
I feel on point.
Yeah, for sure.
So try it out, folks, and shout out to Josh and Dahlia Coons actually because they're the reason why we're doing the dry 25 is what we're calling it. Because I don't know if I told you this. We were texting. I was like, so what's everybody doing, man? First of the year's coming up. We doing 75 hard. We blah blah blah. And he's like, no, Dolly and I are going to go the whole year without drinking.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, that sounds freaking awful. Right. And
Yeah.
but then I was like, I thought about it for a couple of days. I was like, man, if it really does sound that hard and challenging, and I love to do hard shit. So I was like, if it really does sound that hard, I should probably do it.
That's
like,
all the more reason to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like if you have this thing that you feel like is got a hold of you.
Yeah.
Like, let's get that off.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I'm continuing it on. Is like, I feel really good. I don't need it.
Yeah.
So why, I'm trying to explore that relationship with alcohol.
Yeah.
And like, why do I feel like it's so hard?
Yeah. Why is it so damn hard?
I think it's our culture.
That too. It does. You watch TV, movies.
Yeah.
Every time there's like a stressful situation, it's like, oh, let's grab a drink.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
It really is. It's such a it's embedded in our culture. I was actually, Katie Margison.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Formerly Katie Cook. I still think of her as Katie Cook, but
Yeah.
sorry, Katie. And sorry, Mr. Marginson. But we were actually supposed to have her on today.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, and she had to reschedule. And so it worked out perfect to get you on here talking about Greenfork and the podcast coming up, Food for Thought.
Yeah.
But she's on that whole sober journey, and really, she's so spicy, dude. It's freaking hilarious.
I love it. She's calling people out.
Not constantly.
Yeah,
constantly.
it's great. She's going to be a guest on my
nice
podcast as well. Yeah.
Yeah, she's great, man. She's obviously she knows her stuff. That's how I know her, is from CrossFit back. God, it's got to be like 2008 or 2010, and that's where I met her. Was at CrossFit. I think she was already doing it when I joined the old Lake George CrossFit.
Yep, she's been at it for a while.
Yeah. She knows her stuff. Knows her powerlifting.
Yep.
Oldie
She's
weights.
a beast.
Yeah.
And she's doing nutrition coaching.
Yep.
So I'm excited to talk to her about her journey and with getting into coaching now and the sobriety thing. she's probably got a lot to say on it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, she's got a lot to say in general. If you just watch her reels on Facebook or Instagram.
I love it. Keep going.
It's really funny because years ago, there was this whole, like when we were at CrossFit, I remember there's this whole drama with Katie about a dad bod. Someone like put a meme on Facebook about like dad bods or whatever being sexy. And Katie just went off about the whole thing, and it would like turn into like this big situation. I still think about it. I think it's hilarious. So Katie, if you hear this, make sure you tell Stephen about the dad bod story. So fun. She got a lot of flack for it.
Was she knocking dad bods?
Basically, the post that was put up was like kind of like glorifying the dad bod scenario, right? Where you're sedentary, you got a bit of a belly, and chicks dig it. And Katie was not having it at all, man. She was Katie. She just got fiery and blasted like that, just basically saying like it's unhealthy, it's bad, like da da da. But she got some flack on the old Facebook for it.
Hey, somebody's got to do it.
I mean,
we need those voices in the world.
Yeah, for sure. People got to be calling people out, holding each other accountable.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and I feel like we would be remiss if we did not mention, you mentioned 75 Hard. Yeah. I think a lot of people, obviously everyone in the fitness community and wellness community in general, I think is pretty aware of it. But why don't you give the people that aren't familiar with 75 Hard and looking for something challenging to do?
Yeah, so the 75 Hard Challenge was started by this guy, Andy Frisella, who's got a podcast. He's another one of those voices, and
fiery.
He's very fiery. He talks a lot of shit in a good way. Love him or hate him. But anyways, he started this 75 Hard Challenge where it's 75 days straight. You have to work out twice a day. One of them should be outside. You got to drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages in a nonfiction book, stick to a meal plan, like a diet that you can create, but you have to stick to it, and then no alcohol. So it's pretty strict.
Did you say selfie?
Oh, yeah, and you got to take a selfie, too. Yeah, you got to take a mirror pic. Yeah.
I'm not a selfie guy.
You got, like, 30 days in and then missed a picture.
My first time through it took me 113 days to complete a 75-day challenge because I kept forgetting the damn selfie.
Yeah, so if you forget any one of those things, you have to start over from the beginning. And so it really helps keep you accountable. If you get the app, it's got a little checklist in it, and you can, check the boxes as you go, which is huge for me.
The app actually helped me complete it the first time. Yeah. Because just hitting that app every day was huge.
Yep.
And I completed it. The second time I did it, I actually completed it in 75 days.
Yeah, nice.
Amazing. Yeah.
Those task lists for me are really big. As someone who probably has ADD, a business owner, single father, lots of stuff going on, I need lists. Yeah. I'm a list guy. So it really helps me to stay on track. And it's a good way to just reset. I really don't think that it's a super sustainable challenge to work out twice a day. And I think you and I had talked about before how, it really helps prioritize your timing throughout the day and scheduling out your day. Because if you don't make time for a morning workout or time to get that reading in, you can be screwed.
The water,
for
bro.
The day. Yeah.
The water.
Scheduled bathroom breaks.
Dude, you know how many times it'd be like 9 o'clock at night and I had my water bottle, which it's over there, but I have to drink 5 of them.
Yep.
And I can't tell you how many times it'd be like 9 o'clock at night and I only had 2 of them. And so I'd just be sitting there pounding these things going, I'm going to be up every 5 minutes peeing all night long.
Yeah,
it was hard.
It gets you to, schedule those healthy habits, which is really good. I just do it as like a refresher, usually at the beginning of the year. If I feel myself slipping on those things.
It tightens it up, man. Yeah. Tightens up your discipline game hard.
For sure. And like I said, this time around, I didn't stick to it as like thoroughly as it, Andy Frisella, the way he talks about it.
He'd be yelling at you.
He sure would, but I don't care. It's really more for me to have that list every day of things to get done. And I feel really great. I think everybody should at least try it, or some version of it. It's funny because, I work at a gym, Battleground Fitness, and a lot of these people are starting to do it, starting to hop on that train, like, because I'm talking about it all the time. Yeah. It's like being vegan, right? You're always talking about, hey, I'm doing 75 hard. And people, they're like, oh, that sounds cool. I want to try something like that, So it's a fun challenge. Whether you complete it or not, you'll develop some good habits. And so, I just finished with it, and I'm going to continue on with some of the things. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually, I offered last year? Last time I did it, I offered it up to our employees that anyone that wanted to do it would get a free day on, would get 8 hours of PTO basically.
Oh, nice.
So I only had one person out of like 8 people take me up on the offer, but she did it.
You finished?
Yeah.
Nice.
She was stoked. Yeah. I did it with her. It's hard.
It's hard, but you learn a lot. I learned a lot about myself.
Hell yeah, you do.
Through the process. Like I said, I didn't stick to it like he would say to do it, with like 2 45-minute hard, grueling workouts. Mm-hmm. I would count like doing a yoga or stretching or whatever as a workout, working in. And I learned a lot about my body, like that I can't push it as hard as I used to be able to.
Yeah.
And you need recovery. You need to schedule those active recovery days in, because just going super hard all the time like that, you're going to burn out. So it helped me to take time for myself in a great way. That's, not output necessarily, but really more recharging.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot about that. Read some really cool books. I think I started with that Barron's book, which I meant to bring back to you.
But, I got your book upstairs. I finally finished it too.
Yeah. The Third Plate.
Third Plate, yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed the section where he was talking, the guy in France with the geese.
Yeah.
And they yeah. And that was really, really cool. And also inside that section, they were talking about, I forget what the name of the ham is that they produce out of that area.
Oh, Himberco or something like that.
Yeah, something. Yeah, starts with a J, but it's not pronounced as a J. Mm-hmm. But what I found fascinating about it was the fact that a big part of why the meat tastes the way that it does is because of the acorns that they eat from the oak trees. And I kind of, with our pigs and stuff, it's kind of like what I aspired is to have a completely pasture-raised animal that's not eating grain, at least not grain from Tractor Supply, but using like the fruit trees that I'm planting and the oak tree. We got oak trees everywhere, and being able to set up a grazing system so that the animals can eat that stuff on their way around the farm before processing, and just really get all that nutrients and flavor and all that great stuff in a
natural, sustainable way that gives them a unique flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from a economics business standpoint, it saves you money.
Yeah.
Like raising pigs is expensive. I've got 7 right now that are going to have their one bad day at the end of April, and they're happy pigs having a great time, but they're expensive pigs because they're eating a lot of bagged food. Yeah. I mean, we're going through a 50-pound bag every day.
Yeah, I mean, Greenfork motto is you are what you eat.
Yeah.
And that translates over into the food that you raise, the chickens, the pigs, whatever.
I actually have a book called You Are What You Eat Eats.
Yeah.
I got to read it though, but it talks a lot about nutrient density and based on what the animals that you're eating, like what they're eating and how that actually really does pass through to you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It gives if you feed a chicken like beets or whatever, you'll see that the egg yolks are bright red. Same thing with pigs. Imagine eating a pig that just had like walnuts and cherries and a huge part of their diet. They'd probably taste amazing.
Well, and I tell this to the people that are buying pork from us, that the meat, it's going to taste completely different than it tastes from what you buy in the grocery. It looks different, number one.
Yeah.
It's not white meat. And number two, like it's unbelievable, the difference in flavor. And a lot of that, because you read the Barron's book. And I actually was just listening to a podcast that he's on with Nicole Shanahan. Do you know who Nicole is?
No, not by name.
Nicole Shanahan was Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s running mate when he was still running for president.
Oh, okay.
And I want to say that she's self-made. I think she's a billionaire. And I don't know if it's biotech or technology or what sector it is from. She's a very, very successful human. And she was his running mate, and she's very politically active and vocal, but specifically in that Maha movement area.
Yeah.
And she had the guy that wrote Food Barons. Is it Food Barons?
Just Barons.
Just Barons. Amazing book too. If you're at all concerned about your food, you should read that.
It taught me a lot about the agriculture and industry and the way that it was built up, and as the railroads were being built and the supply chains and everything were being built up, and how it kind of screwed the little guy. Taught me a lot about that. But
yeah, I mean, I can tell you as a little guy, a very little guy from a farm standpoint, but it's and I'm on X all the time screaming from the rooftops, but like the system is not set up for the small farmer. That's why that's why small farms are going out of business every single day. And I think we're losing I know we're losing 4 dairies a day.
Wow.
And from an overall farm standpoint, I want to say it's like 400 farms a week or something, a scary ass number when you think about food security and food supply. But like a big part of the reason is because like in order for me to raise livestock and sell livestock, and we've talked a little bit about this, I have to involve specific kind of processors depending on if they're buying whole or half shares or if they're trying to buy cuts. And just to go cuts, you have to have a USDA processor, which there's not enough anywhere in the country. I want to say there's like 1,000 USDA processors around the country, which sounds like a lot of but it's not when you look at, you're trying to feed 350 million people.
Yeah.
And that meat's got to come through 1,000 processors, right?
Yeah,
so
it's not a lot.
Not a lot at all. And then you look at the number of farms, but the cost associated with it. My cost, almost upwards towards 40% of the money I'll take in on an animal goes to the processor. 40%.
That's a good business to be in then, I guess.
Yeah, man, because you have none of the risk. Because, again, raising livestock, there's a lot of risk. Something else people don't understand about the food supply chain.
Yeah.
Animal gets sick, animal dies. Things happen where you're counting on a certain number of animals to be able to process and sell, and all of a sudden you lose 20% of those animals or 30% of those animals, it's rough, man. Yeah. And so it's really hard for small businesses because the regulations and the laws in this country are geared up for the JBSs, right? Mm-hmm. That pig farmer, well, they're not just a pig farmer, but they're like a pig cartel basically, but they're huge, one of the largest I don't even think they're actually based in the country. They might be based in Venezuela. But they are one of the largest pig processors in the United States. And a lot of their farms out in Iowa are those you read about in the book, right? Which people don't know. Like that, I would say probably all, but I can't speak to that. But probably all of the pork that you buy at the grocery store comes from a quote unquote farm like JBS has, which is just a metal shack in like Iowa. Yeah. And they pack as many pigs as they can in there. Those pigs never see the sunlight. Yeah. Who knows what they're fed all day? They live in a stressful environment all the time. So like Joe Salatin, who's like a really famous farmer, he wrote a book called Everything I Want to Do is Illegal. And it's all about farming. Because everything he was trying to do, raise chickens and sell them, raise pork and sell it, raise beef and sell everything he wanted to do, there was a law against it.
Yeah, it's really restricted, huh?
Super restricted. And for those of you that are going, well, for good reason, because food safety, all those laws and regulations came about when we had horrible sanitary practices in general. Yeah. Right. And so like people got sick, people got parasites and people died. And yeah, absolutely. We needed some change. So these laws got enacted, protect the consumer. And it worked. The problem is that was 100 years ago. Some of these laws are from like 1906. Yeah. We're in a completely different environment. The sanitation methods that are available to us now, like it's nonsense. And all it does, but as a small farmer, I have to adhere to the same laws, regulations, restrictions that JBS does. And JBS gets millions and millions and millions of dollars in subsidies from the federal government. So it's like the whole system is just so messed up and just really needs to be like burnt down and rebuilt. Like, so.
Well, there's the whole like get big or get out thing. That's a big deal. You should have Thomas Poultry and King's Dairy on. I talk to them about this kind of stuff all the time. And
you should have them on your podcast.
I think I will. Yeah.
I'll come on as a co-guest though. I would love that.
I know because you'd love it.
I'd love to talk to those guys
for sure. My delivery guy, I chat his ear off all the time about this kind of stuff, like what's going on with the recent egg prices in the country. It's a farm out in the Midwest somewhere that had bird flu and it knocked out, I think he said, like a couple million birds. And that really does impact, the farmer more than anything. I mean, they get subsidized to protect, but that's what drives the price up. And it's a national price. So if somebody out in Iowa with a chicken farm can get much more for their eggs, then it's going to impact us over here too, which is kind of weird, but it's the way it is. And the same regulations that apply to a huge farm like, I don't know, Eggland's or whatever, Eggland's Best, still apply to a smaller guy like Thomas's,
Yeah, and they
to
have
go through the
completely
same
different
process.
farming practices.
Yeah.
Like it's not even apples to apples, and it's crazy. I was blasting the USDA on I keep wanting to call it Twitter, but on X, because they kept talking about like, oh, it helped solve the shortage problems. We're gonna import eggs from blah 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 blah. And I'm like, why? I'm like, why don't you just deregulate the whole egg industry and let all the backyard producers across the United States actually sell their eggs, other than like the black market egg sales that happen all the time. You know what I mean? But it's like, come on, man. Like, just get out of the way. That's all that's all they really need to do. And it'd be the easiest thing. And it's free. Just get out of the way and let people sell their stuff. Like,
eggs at the farmer's market are cheaper than at the supermarket.
yeah.
And you're getting a better quality product. Anyway,
Way better.
So go to the farmer's market for your eggs.
Yeah. And listen, everyone listening out there in wherever land, if you've never tasted a farm egg compared to the grocery store egg, like you can crack them side by side and just see the difference in the yolk. Like it's a completely different story.
Yeah. So I was going to make a post about this. Nutrient density equals flavor.
Yeah.
Right. So if you look at an egg with a deep, rich yolk, that has more flavor because it has more nutrients. A dark leafy green of spinach or kale or whatever it is, the darker it is, the more flavor it has compared to like iceberg lettuce, which is mostly water, void of nutrients. Wild venison, that deep red, rich color, so good, so
good.
flavorful versus like, a pale steak that you get at Walmart, like.
That might have been injected with dyes to make it look redder.
Yeah, dyes and water and salt. It's gross.
All sorts of gross stuff. Yeah.
So if you want the most flavorful product and the most nutrient dense product, you got to get it from closer to the source as you can.
Can you, for people that don't understand, can you speak to nutrient density and like what that means? Because I don't think a lot of people understand. They just think like a steak's a steak.
Yeah. So again, you're looking at color as a great indicator for nutrient density, and what that means is, per portion, let's say per 4-ounce portion of a elk strap, a back strap of an elk versus like a farm raised cow. The amount of nutrients in that 4-ounce portion is going to be more than the store-bought steak, right? So more vitamins and minerals is what you're talking about, packed into the same amount of food product.
Yeah.
And that goes with everything. So vegetables, fruits, everything. The deeper, the darker, the richer the color, the more vibrant, the more nutrients, vitamins, and minerals will be in that food product. I think that's it. It's just really the amount of vitamins and minerals that are packed into, whatever it is that you're eating, and that is nutrient density. So we try to find things that are more nutrient dense to fuel our body with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like almost think like a easy example would be like pasture raised animals are going to have a higher K2 level than say a like a factory farmed, which again, I don't think everyone buys steak at the grocery store. They see the cow in the field on the label and they think that's how that cow grew up, but it's not even close. It's basically under a roof its entire life, barely moves. Food in one side, poop out the other. They clean it up. Like, it's so gross.
And foods that are naturally void of nutrients, we process them and pack them full of fake nutrients. Well, not fake, but, artificial nutrients after the fact. So things like cereals and whatnot, they strip the flour of everything that it's worth.
Yeah.
And then they put it back in at the end when, like, you could just mill your own flour and create a bread. Actually, I just got a really good bread from this bakery, Suzanne. It's up on Route 50. They're at the farmer's market in Saratoga. They get their own grains,
wheat berries,
and mill them, and then create the bread from that. And the taste is amazing, and you can just, you can see and taste the difference. So, versus like Wonder Bread, where they strip everything down and then put it back in, for the reason, for mouthfeel, for all that stuff. But I would much rather have something that's homemade with love. From the source.
I'm not really eating grains right now, so no bread for me. But I, for a while though, I was, and I bought like 400 pounds of wheat berries, and I was grinding them, making flour, making bread from that. It's unbelievably good.
Yeah. So that's how you get more natural nutrient density in your food. Just getting things closer to the source and trying to look for those things that are, either wild or small farm raised.
So I know obviously we want to talk about the podcast, but I figure we should talk about Greenfork first because that's kind of how we got here, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Greenfork and maybe throw some of your background in there too.
Yeah, so we'll start with myself. I've been a chef pretty much my whole life. I'm 37 now. I started when I was 16 washing dishes. So I've always been really passionate about food. I've also been into health and wellness and fitness and went to school for nutrition. So I kind of look at food from that angle as well as the flavors and everything. So, working in restaurants my whole life, I kind of got tired of, working for other people and not being able to do exactly what I wanted to do, which is provide nutrient-rich food to people, to my community, make it more accessible and, education as well. So that I started Greenfork, which is primarily a meal prep company where I do prepackaged, pre-portioned individual meals for folks. You can go online, you can look at my menu. It's got whole food-based meals, high protein, complex carbohydrates, lots of veggies. Basically a good, well-balanced meal that you can just throw in the microwave and eat, so it's convenient, right? So that's the bulk of what I do. I actually just, a little side note, started doing an athlete's menu, which is grilled steak, grilled chicken, turkey meatballs, rice, potatoes, broccoli, all sorts of vegetables that you can buy by the pound so that you can make your own meals out of that.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of how me and my son eat all the time. We take the leftovers and just bags of, grilled meats or whatever, and we eat off of that. So that's been blowing up. But basically what I do is provide, quick, healthy food for people, along with some education. So I'm going to do a lot of nutrition talks to different organizations. I'm part of this Food is Mood program, which I'm going to have those girls on as well to talk about food and how it impacts mental health.
Yeah.
So there's a big education component into Greenfork that I'd love to get more involved in. Just talking about nutrition, basically. I did nutrition coaching for a while on an individual level, but that kind of phased out. I really want to get into more public talking and educating the masses.
Are you familiar with Jack Cruz, Dr. Jack Cruz?
No.
He said something there that made me think about. So he talks about food, like, as I can't, I'm too out of it to call myself an athlete anymore, but we'll say as an active person, we often think about food as fuel, right? That's the phrase, right? Food is fuel. Treat food like fuel. Don't treat it as don't eat a bunch of garbage, blah, blah, blah. One thing he said on, I don't know if he was with Huberman or who he was talking to, but he was talking about if you reframe what you're eating to look at it as, instead of food as fuel, is that food is something that's going to trigger a hormonal response in your body. And so when you talk about food as mood, right? Like it's, you're going to eat something and different things have a different hormone release in your body based on the type of food. And if it's processed, ultra processed, blah, blah, blah. And if you start looking at how you want to feel based on what you're eating, I thought it was a really interesting way to look at. Cause I, think about the term hangry, you're getting so hungry because you're getting so angry because you're hungry and really what talking about is your blood glucose is all messed up and it's making you feel awful. And so then eating certain foods can either delay or get rid of the whole hangry thing, but just looking at it as a hormone response instead of looking at it as just fuel, I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And the women that I'm working with can speak a lot more to what's happening in your gut microbiome, your blood-brain barrier, and all that stuff. They're really smart women that I'm working with. But if you look at it as food is medicine, it can be either poison or medicine, depending on what you're eating. People that have sugar addiction, they're always constantly riding these highs and lows. Where if you can kind of get yourself at a good baseline, cover all your nutritional bases, you're working at more of an advantage than putting yourself at a disadvantage about eating garbage all the time. Mm-hmm. And it really reflects in your brain capacity, just like you said about alcohol earlier, right? You're in a brain fog all the time where you cut that out or you switch it up and start drinking tea or whatever, you're able to operate at a higher level. And it's the same thing with food, the healthier you eat, the more your body is just ready and capable to take on challenges. Yeah. So I want to get into a lot more about that kind of stuff with Greenfork and with this podcast, bring people on that are smarter than I am in that realm. I feel like I have a pretty good general knowledge and I'm very inquisitive. and always learning about this stuff. But I want to have people that really understand these things at like a cellular biological level.
Yeah.
That can speak more about it. But yeah, so Greenfork is kind of ever evolving. It's a meal prep company. It's a food company. I always want to just make sure I can take care of my community, get them eating better and moving more. I do nutrition coaching, fitness coaching as well, personal training, all that stuff. So if I can impact my community in a good way, make a little money while I'm doing it, that's kind of the goal for me. And then, yeah, super excited about this podcast. Like I was saying, just to get people on that are also involved in wellness or whatever. I mean, the idea behind it is really just to feed my own head, all my interests, which happen to be wellness. I think wellness has a bunch of different components to it, right? You have nutrition and physical fitness. That's your physical wellness. Then you have your financial health, right? Your spiritual health, your religious health, whatever that is, your creativity. So all these things play a role in how you be throughout the world or throughout your life. And I really just want to dive into that kind of stuff and see who I can talk to and put some good energy out there and good tips on how to live your best life.
Yeah, I'm excited too about it being with a lot of local people. Not that it'll always be local people, but just being able to hear from local voices and people that you might run into at the farmer's market or at the gym or wherever. It's like it's nice to have it's nice to know who those people are and what they have to talk about and what kind of questions you can ask them when you see them.
And I am lucky enough to know a lot of cool people that are doing really cool things. And I have my own conversations with them, at the gym or the farmer's market, wherever I run into them. But, I want to get that message out there and let people know what they're doing because they're really doing some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a list of people that I sent out the first dozen or so emails to get them on. And super excited about it. Like the Food is Mood program, I'm really excited to get them in talking about it because that's going to grow quite a bit. I see that being a big deal. And
it's huge, man. There's just so much emerged. And that's the thing too about so many different industries, but about health and nutrition, there's just so much happening right now and so much changing and so much information out there. And it's really hard to cut through it sometimes to know what's real and what's not and what's agenda driven and, what's actually going to be good for you.
Yeah. It's funny you see back in the day it was low sugar, low fat, and now it's complete opposite of that. So talk about agenda driven. It's like, what do they want you to think?
What do they want you to think? Thank God someone said it.
It can be like that, it really can be. So I want to cut through the bullshit and get to the meat and potatoes of it. And, what is actually going to benefit your life, from a tactical standpoint, of something you can actually do.
Yeah. Eggs, everybody. Eat eggs.
Eat some more eggs.
They're not bad for you.
Yeah.
But that was the thing though. I remember eggs were poison. I remember, God, it must have been.
Don't eat the yolk or whatever.
Listen, I was one of those assholes that was eating egg whites for the longest time because I was convinced that cholesterol was evil and that that's how you get heart attacks and have strokes and all this stuff. And now that it's just not the case. And
and information comes from everywhere, right? You have information coming from farmers and bodybuilders and nutrition world people and doctors that kind of prescribe to one method or another. And really, I think there's some truth in all of it. There's different ways you can go about attacking the problem for yourself. I mean, everybody's different nutritionally. I
was going to ask you that. What are your thoughts on biology being, I shouldn't say biology, nutritional biology being really personalized based on the individual?
It can be, especially in this growing world where we have been exposed to so many toxins and nasty things, where your body might have developed an allergy or a deficiency or something. So you do need different nutrients than, the next person. Ultimately it does break down to what you as an individual need. I'm a fan of just trying to cover the big blocks first. And then once you have those things established, you can look a little deeper into, what your body specifically needs. I find that most people do well with just a whole food based diet, but there are certain people, say you have a gluten intolerance or whatever, a vitamin deficiency, you might need more specific diet plan.
Yeah. I mean, I know I have over the years, I've done all sorts of crazy weird shit as far as dieting and eating and trying different, whether it was doing paleo or carnivore or keto, or I was vegan for a while and vegetarian, and trying all these different things. And what I've landed on is that grains don't sit with me well for whatever reason. They make me tired, not bloated, but just heavy. Like I just feel heavy when if you see me eat a sandwich, more than likely within the next 10 minutes, I got to sit down and like take a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And, I can't go carnivore or paleo hardcore because I'm too active and I don't get enough fuel, and I end up going into metabolic failure after a couple of weeks of doing it. Yep. And, so for me, white potatoes, man. And I know that like they're kind of frowned upon by a lot of people in certain cases, but like if I eat 4 ounces of white potatoes with 2 of my meals, then like I'm not overdoing it. I've got enough energy to be able to power through my workouts, power through my day. I'm not sluggish. I'm not tired. It's taken me, I'm 48. It's taken me, I've probably been experimenting with this shit for 20 years now, trying to do different things. And
yeah, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with these different types of diets, right? It's mess around and find out, figure it out for yourself, but it requires a lot of awareness, right? So I think that most people, you're a very aware person. You're in touch with your body. You know how things make you feel, right? And if you don't have that, and you don't have like if you're not tracking what you eat and saying like, oh, I had a piece of bread and then an hour later it made me feel like crap. Most people don't even do that. Yeah. They just kind of like think it's whatever. So really working with a doctor, a nutrition coach, dietitian to kind of dial those things in is the smart way to do it, right? Then just go out on a whim and try carnivore because you heard Joe Rogan talking about it. Whatever. I mean, shout
out Joe.
Yeah. Mess around and find out. Experiment with things. I'm not opposed to anybody trying that, but I think really elimination diet is a great one. Just start really simple and build off of those big basic blocks, and then from there you can kind of see and get your blood work done. Get a nutrition panel. Go to your doctor and ask for a nutrition panel. I just had my
blood work done for this reason.
Yeah,
so cool having all that information.
Yeah, because otherwise you don't know. I mean, you can go off of your awareness, right, and how things make you feel, but it's hard to pinpoint really what it is. If you do have a deficiency, you're not going to be able to tell based on the way you feel. So you need blood work done. You know
what else is really cool? I don't know if you've done this or heard about it. So I got my blood work done, and they called me up and they're like, yeah, everything's in nominal ranges, right?
Yeah.
All right. That's not actual information as far as not for me.
No.
I'm sure there's people to be happy with that answer, but like, I was like, all right. So then I took pictures of the blood tests and I uploaded them into Grok, the AI program. Sorry, everyone, Elon Musk's. I know some of you may not like that, but it's his AI program.
Okay.
And then like said, hey, just do me a quick, analyze these results and give me some, and then all this information. I'm reading through it, and then I could like ask questions and cross reference against other things, and it was amazing. It was like.
That's cool.
Yeah. Like when I got the call from the doctor, like everything in nominal results, I was like, all right, well, that's lame. I can't that's not actionable. Right. This gave me like real actionable stuff. Like, hey, your vitamin D levels are here. And based on that, with your cholesterol levels and your calcium, you may want to consider this. Or, your testosterone levels are here. And based with your SBGH and all, it's just really cool stuff. So now I can enact some changes. And sorry, my generator just came on. It must be Tuesday. It runs a test every Tuesday. So I can make some changes.
Yeah.
And then I can go and retest midsummer and see where my levels are at. Now I'm like a geek at the science fair, right? I'm like, all right, this is really cool. This is a lot of fun.
It is really cool. And there's a lot of, like, if you go to your primary care physician, your family care physician, they're not really trained in like nutrition the way that somebody like a dietitian would be, or somebody that like a performance coach or something like that. There's a lot of telehealth companies that are popping up where they'll look at your blood work for hormonal panels or whatever. But when it comes to your nutrition panel, your primary care doctor is going to be like, okay, you're in a good range. That's good enough. Good enough for me. But you're more inquisitive than that. You want to figure out how you can really optimize your nutrition and
longevity. I mean, again, not to keep bringing up, I'm an old man, but like I'm 48 and I'm a pretty active guy.
But you don't feel 48.
I don't feel 48. And I actually said the other day, I'm like, I'm pretty sure my biological age is like 28 because I'm still trying to mix it up with all the 28-year-old guys. But I want to be able to have longevity. And by longevity, I don't mean live until I'm 200, but that would be cool. But I want to be able to be active as long as possible. And so that information is super valuable.
Yeah.
Like, I really need to know where my testosterone levels are, what I can do to change those without throwing TRT in my body, and nothing against anybody that does. I know it's very common practice these days, but, or my vitamin D or any of that stuff, it's super valuable information.
Yeah. It allows you to pinpoint, the one thing that could be causing a chain reaction down and making you feel like crap. So if you're just deficient in one specific nutrient, chances are you take that one little pill, one little vitamin, and it changes your whole world.
Like B12.
Yeah.
So many people are B12 deficient and they have low energy levels, and literally they could take a supplement that would fix their problem.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yep. Some people, this is getting kind of deeper, but some people lack certain enzymes to be able to process a vitamin or mineral.
Yeah.
And so if you lack that enzyme, it's as simple as finding out which enzyme that is, taking a supplement of that enzyme, and that's going to change your whole world. It's going to be able to help your body process the vitamins and minerals that you need, and that's a game changer.
Yeah.
But you get there through blood work and through science,
not just through just taking it just in case kind of deal.
Yeah.
Do you listen to Brecka? Gary
no,
Brecka?
But that's the idea that, like, he does a lot of that.
He talks a lot about that, like methylation and which I still don't fully understand.
When you, from what I understand, if you take a certain version of a vitamin, like a methylated version, it bypasses that need to break it down.
Yeah.
It's pre-broken down, essentially, so your body can absorb it and then actually utilize it, whereas it wouldn't have been able to before through food or through a regular supplement.
Yeah.
So that's really cool, and you get there through science and through working with your blood work and everything.
It's fascinating. I geek out about that stuff all day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like, again, when you dive in deeper on an individual level with your clients or with yourself or whatever, that's how you can kind of tailor it towards your body. But I think most of the people in our community, if you just focus on a whole food diet, get those big blocks covered, I think that's what I preach. Is like
good place to start anyway.
Yeah. Let's get everything dialed in, and then you can start to look at those things. Because if you're drinking every night and eating garbage food, there's no sense in going to get a blood panel because you're not already at a good base level.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, your numbers are going to be out of whack. Straighten out for a little bit, eat good for a month or so, get your blood work done, and then see where you're really at.
Yeah. That test and retest is huge.
Yeah, a lot of the telehealth companies, working outside of insurance and everything, and they're able to do these things. But you can go in. There's a good book called Good Energy. Yeah. I think you just posted about reading it.
I might have. Yeah. I loved it. That was great. I love Casey and Kelly Means. I love what they're doing.
They're great. Yeah. And she was talking about in that book different tests that you can ask your family physician for, and they will do it. So you just have to know to ask. It's a great book. Everybody should definitely check that book out.
And if you're feeling fatigue and low energy levels, your insurance will cover it to everyone. Oh, yeah. Just saying.
Yeah. That's all you got to say.
Right.
Yeah. Doc, I'm feeling kind of tired.
I'm feeling kind of tired.
Yeah.
So I just to circle back to Greenfork real quick. So a couple questions I had. So meal plan service.
Yep.
How do people get their meals? Like, what does that look like?
Well, you order online. You have until Wednesday evening. That's the cutoff to get either a delivery or a pickup on Sunday.
Okay.
So my menu's all online. You go on, and it's just like a shopping cart with any other store or any other online shopping place that you go to. You make your cart. You can choose subscription or not. So 1 week at a time, or you can choose subscription, save a little money, and then not have to worry about going back in every week. I've got a bunch of different menu options. I've got that athlete's menu, so there's tons to choose from. But you order on Wednesday, you get a Sunday delivery.
Okay. Yep. So you deliver it right to them?
Yeah. If you live in the Saratoga area, we'll deliver to you. If not, I've got pickup locations in Albany, Clifton Park, Lake George, Saratoga, all up and down the highway there.
Nice.
And I'm always looking to expand. So if you're a gym or a wellness center or any place that has a refrigerator and wants to offer some good quality meals, let me know. I'm always looking to expand and get my food out there to a larger community.
Do you work with like, I don't know why I just thought of like Sierra Bard and Glens Falls, but like, just like organizations that have lots of employees. Like, do you work with businesses like that where you'll do a drop point for their employees or?
Yeah, I've been approached about that. I've done it for a handful of folks. And I do like catering like lunches for those people.
Yeah.
And there was one company, Z-Bar, I think in Clifton Park, where they were ordering from me for quite a while. But the short answer is no, not really. I'd love to get into that a little bit more. So if you're a company that wants to hire and I think wellness initiatives are going to be big in the corporate world. So whether that's having a trainer, athletic trainer, nutritionist, dietitian, mental health expert on staff for your employees, I think that is the way of the future, keeping your employees healthy and happy and productive. And a big part of that is nutrition. So hit me up. I'll put some good food in your fridges, and you can keep your employees happy and healthy.
Nice. Last question about Greenfork, and then we'll move over to the Food for Thought podcast. Seed oils?
I don't use them.
Nice.
No. I use olive oil for everything.
Nice.
Yeah, and I use a good olive oil. We can get into seed oils and how they...
I know.
Yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, I avoid it. I try to use very simple and plain ingredients. I use coconut oil, if it calls for it, sesame oil, or olive oil. So no seed oils. And it's gluten-free and dairy-free. And I have vegan options as well. So
awesome.
Everything is as close to, whole food as I can. A lot of times with the vegan stuff, I'll have to do like some minimally processed tofu or tempeh or whatever. But
that can't be helped.
Yeah.
Those vegans love their processed food.
Yeah, and it's hard. And processed food it's on a scale, right? So you can have like a minimally processed thing or a highly processed thing. And you really can't avoid using different, I don't use it, but mayonnaise, right? Mm-hmm. That's like a processed food. A lot of times that is made with canola oil, right? So if you do have mayonnaise, try to make your own. It's pretty simple. If you get some good eggs and some good avocado oil, you can make that yourself. But I digress. No, I don't use seed oils.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough. Canola oil is disgusting.
It is, yeah.
I actually, Josh and Dahlia Coons, we had this whole conversation because she was saying how we were talking about oils, and I was like, seed oils are poison. You got to get them out of your diet. Yeah. And she was like, well, I cook with canola oil. I'm like, let me tell you about canola oil.
Yeah. And this is something that's kind of frustrating too, is that like we use that a lot. A lot of restaurants use peanut oil, and
you say we, not Greenfork, but
in the food industry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that stuff, and people just don't know, and they use it because it's cheap. And usually, on top of the fact that it's just highly processed, it's rancid. It's not good for you. A lot of olive oils are disguised as good for you, but they're old, they're rancid, they're not even olive oil. They're
not even olive oil. How about that whole deal?
It could be 90% canola, 10% olive oil, and they're still allowed to call it olive oil.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you have to be educated. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do here is educate people on what good products are out there, good food swaps,
Seed oils are why I barely eat out nowadays because you can't go to a restaurant without getting a meal full of seed oils. And I'm telling you, because I don't eat them ever, I can feel it.
Yeah.
I'm
gross. Hearing that from a lot of people, a lot of my clients and stuff. You can tell when you go out, and things are just greasier when you go out because chefs rely on butter and oil and sugar and salt to make
throw all that flavor in there.
Yeah, but I have a tough time eating out because although things might be really good, I can appreciate a chef's work and what they're doing, of course, but at the end of the day, I eat so clean all the time that I can really feel.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I go out and eat.
It like hurts you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hurts my wallet too.
Yeah, well, that too. Things are not cheap anymore.
Yeah.
I was actually just talking to my daughter about, she was talking about Taco Bell, which obviously I haven't eaten fast food in years. But I was like, yeah, well, they used to have like $1 menu. I used to be able to eat for $5 from Taco Bell, like a king.
Yeah.
And now, not happening.
Yeah, $20.
I guess. Yeah, I don't even know, but I know it's expensive.
For a bunch of bullshit.
No offense, Taco Bell. I'm sure you're all fine folks.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the podcast. So
right.
I'm super excited about your podcast.
Yeah, me too.
Can't wait to listen to it. glean information from you and your guests. Obviously nutrition is something that I like to geek out, like just anything that has to do with how my body's running and how my mind is thinking. I'm very passionate about as well. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, I know you kind of got into it, but tell us more about like, what kind of things are you looking to be able to get out of the podcast?
Well, I just want to talk to people that are in the community doing cool things that I like, that I'm also kind of into, which is wellness based, whether it's nutrition or fitness or finances or spiritual health or creativity. I'd like to, I'm a big music nerd, art geek. I want to talk to those people.
You're a drummer, right?
Yeah.
I've seen videos of you drumming.
Yeah. Actually, my buddy just uncovered this old video from us, like 10, 12 years ago, playing this thing for Look TV.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Look TV? Yeah, it's like a local thing, and that video is super cool. So, yeah, I'm really into music. I played music for many years, and I just want to talk to people that are into that, doing that, and I'm just really curious about people's lives and, like, what drove you to do this? What inspired you to pursue your passions, whether it's through any one of those 5 pillars of wellness that I talked about, or just, from a creative standpoint, really just.
I'm just curious, because as you say that, it makes me want to ask this question is, do you look at nutrition as more than just the food you're eating? Is it really just all of the different things that you're consuming, whether it's the music you're consuming, the books you're reading, the TV you're watching, the food you're eating, the water you're drinking?
All of that. Yeah. I mean, you are what you eat. You are what you take in, whether it's visually, audibly, whatever. I was thinking about this the other day, just listening to like some rock music, like something like Linkin Park that I listened to since I was a kid.
Those favorite song?
Oh, I don't know. I like the DJ ones, the Mr. Han, the DJ.
Okay.
Yeah. No lyrics in that, because what I was talking about is his lyrics are really depressing, right? He talks a lot about suicide, wanting to kill himself. And, he did that. So listening to those types of things really makes you feel a certain way, whether you are aware of it or not. For me, I'm super aware of it. So, I was just sitting back listening one day. I'm like, man, this is kind of making me feel kind of sad. So, the things that you listen to do have an effect on your mood. So yeah, I think that music is very powerful. It can be inspiring, it can be mood boosting, or it can bring you down. There's nothing wrong with talking. I think that message that he was talking about was great, and it helped a lot of people get through, their depression or whatever it is that they're going through. And there's certainly a voice for everybody out there, but, I just try to, as I'm trying to clean up my world, clean up my nutrition, everything I take in, I'm more aware of that kind of thing. So, your nutrition, the stuff you watch on TV's kind of terrible. They force feed you a lot of crap.
It's a psyop.
Yeah, it's all a psyop.
It's all psyop, brother.
It can be. I mean, everything has an impact on your body and your mental state. So, I do view nutrition as more of a holistic thing than rather just the food that you eat. So in that regard, I want to bring on tons of people that have something to say about each facet of life that you intake. I think financial health is a big one that, unfortunately I didn't really educate myself on until I reached about 30 years old. I made a bunch of money throughout my whole life, but kind of pissed it away. Didn't really set up any kind of savings or anything. Was talking with a friend of mine from the gym who I'm going to have her on, and she's telling me about simple ways that I can invest, and I had no idea. I was just not educated. I didn't know what a CD was. I didn't know what money market accounts were, IRAs, any of that stuff.
Well, look at the impact that your finances have on your health.
Exactly. So,
right.
And once I started investing, once I set up those accounts, I'm like, this big weight's lifted off my shoulders. Like, okay, I feel more secure financially. I'm able to make decisions. I'm not living paycheck to paycheck anymore.
Dude, you're a small business owner in New York State. You must be rolling in it, bro.
Yeah. No, I got to do every little thing I can to make sure that, my son is set up. I don't want him to have to struggle financially. I'm sure every parent understands that, right? I want him to be set up and not have to worry about the stress of living paycheck to paycheck or whatever. So, that has a huge impact on how I move through the world. And it's really important. So I want people to understand that. I want to bring people on that can speak to that and provide a little bit of knowledge and education to folks that aren't there yet or whatever. or maybe you do have some kind of setup and you can learn a thing or two or whatever. So I think, financial health is important. I think spiritual health is important. I've been reading a lot of books on like Buddhism, Buddhist ways of thought and things about consciousness and all that. So I kind of geek out on that stuff too, where you're at spiritually and how you process your own thoughts. As far as mental health goes, I think it's super important to have some sort of practice of self-awareness and how can I take these sometimes negative thoughts and just work through them or let them pass. So I'd love to have people on that can speak to that a little bit more.
I got a book for you.
All right.
Trying to remember what the name of it is. Oh, shit. I'll get it for you before we leave. It's like the wealth as a path to enlightenment. Crap, I can't remember what the name. It's something along those lines. But it just talks about like how earning and retaining money can really help you on your spiritual path and moving toward, whatever, regardless of what your views. But it's a little bit more on the Buddhist side of things. But it's an interesting book. I think you'll like it. Yeah,
I think that getting back to this idea of having a good baseline with all these aspects of wellness helps you move through the world with a little bit more of ease, right? So whether you have a good spiritual practice that allows you to just take a step back if you're in stressful times and process it and move through it with a little more ease, or if you're financially stable, the relationship that you have with money, where you're not completely stressed out about it all the time. So if you can develop a good baseline of practices with all these wellness pillars, you're going to be much better off than, if you weren't, because I spent years of my life not knowing anything about nutrition, not knowing anything about finance or spiritual health or anything. And it's night and day where I'm at now that I've educated myself. So really, through my own thought process, through my own inquisitiveness, I've been able to bring myself to a pretty good point now. And I just want to keep digging into that and help spread the message of things that have helped me.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, I know we got to wrap up. We're hitting that hour mark. I don't want to keep you here all day. I'm sure you got things to do. If people want to learn more about Greenfork, where do they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Greenfork Eats. I'm also on there as Zabala, PRML. And eatgreenfork.com is my website. There's a little bit about, who I am and what I do, but that's where you go and order the food mostly.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then I know once we get the podcast up, you'll have some links there too.
Yep.
We're going to have the podcast on our new website, buyinglocal.us. If you haven't seen, actually got a fresh copy right here. Our print product of Buying Local. There'll be some stuff in there. There actually is some stuff in there already, but we'll have all sorts of QR codes to scan to get to your show, and we'll have it obviously all over the social medias. And I can't wait to listen, man. I'm really excited about it. I
got to say thank you so much. Yeah. One, for just kind of egging me on and pushing me to do this, and two, for providing the support for me to be able to do it. And it's really, it's been an idea for so long, and I really just am super grateful to you for allowing me to do this and using the resources that you have. So
yeah, man.
Thank you so much. It's our mission,
unwavering support for small business owners and entrepreneurs. And I happen to think you're a pretty good dude.
Yeah.
So that helps too. If you sucked, I wouldn't help you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Likewise, brother. Thanks everybody for listening or for watching. If you're on YouTube or Rumble, of course, the podcasts are always on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Thanks to Taylor and the team over at 5 Towers Media that are producing all of this wonderful content for us and for you, for that matter. And you can find us on social media, guys, either on our Buying Local banner or for 5 Towers Media. And then, of course, check out the new our monthly publication of Buying Local. Just hit the streets in the last couple days. You can also find it online, of course, to buyinglocal.us. And we've got our friends on the front cover here. Willow Marsh Farm, the renaissance of raw milk. I think everybody should drink it, and everybody should definitely go to Willow Marsh. So go and check those guys out. And last but certainly not least, I got to say thank you so much to our community partners. They are what makes this podcast happen, and so much of what we do happen is our community partners, folks like Cerrone Plumbing and Heating, Bob Fitch State Farm. We've got a lot now. It's really exciting. Rasp Incorporated. We've got Herzog Law Firm just came on board. We've got Greenwood Hoff Wealth Management is one of our community partners. Oh my God, I'm forgetting 2 of them. I should make a list. And if I was a pro, one day I'm going to be a pro, and I would have a list so I could read these off so I wouldn't forget who our amazing community partners are. I'll make sure to do that for the next episode. But seriously, all of you community partners, Performance Industrial, thank you. And all of our advertisers too, because, we can't do anything without our advertisers and our community partners. They are the gas that makes the engine go. So thanks everybody so much. Thanks for listening, and you'll hear from us soon.